Hello and welcome to Pluribus Fireside Chats. Not as good as a few hours, but hey, it's something. Now, still no housekeeping to really give for, at the moment. So let's get right into the news. First, we're going to be getting into some actually good news, because apparently Ayman Odeh has survived the Knesset vote to expel him with only 73 votes in favor. It's a bit surprising, but when you actually get into the vote breakdown, you realize that it is not surprising. See, again, this is one of the few times where I'm actually going to attempt to try to actually have a thing in the visual version of the podcast. So if you're listening to the audio, bring it up to the actual screen for a second, just real quick. I don't think you really need, I guess technically you don't need to, because, I will be describing it anyways for the people who don't see it, but let's just go into it. Okay, so there is actually two, I like to do this a lot. I make two I did this with Ofer Kassif's impeachment as well, where I did two charts. One chart by the the vote totals, just how it voted. But then I also did a second one based on how many people just by party breakdown, because I wanted to do a bit more in depth just to see how things went down. Okay, so as you can see, there's I'm gonna show you the first one. Red means that they voted against Ayman Odeh's impeachment. Green means they voted yes. And gray means that they weren't in the Knesset. And black means that they were in the Knesset and they voted present on the bill. I do not know how present works in the Knesset, but in America, the present vote basically means no matter what way you're going to vote on the bill, you're going to get disappointed, so you're basically removing yourself from the equation altogether. So, in that sense that you would actually lower the threshold needed to pass the resolution by one vote. But regardless, it doesn't even matter, because I don't know if it works in this procedural vote anyways, but regardless. First, that's a big thing, and if you remember Ofer Kassif's last thing, you'll realize, that's an interesting thing, and that's what I'm gonna have to get into this. Now you will see the version of the graph that has a partisan breakdown alongside their vote thing. So, some of them are really not surprising. All 32 members of Likud voted aye. All members of Shas voted aye. All members of Religious Zionism voted aye. All members of Atza Yehudit voted aye. Those were all parties within Benjamin Netanyahu's coalition and, allies within the coalition. All the members of Yisrael Bientu, who are part of the opposition coalition, voted aye. 5 members of Yesh Atid voted aye. All 4 members of A New Right voted aye. The 1 member of Noam voted aye. And the 1 independent, who was apparently formerly a member of Yesh Atid, voted aye as well. And on the opposite side of the aisle, all 5 members of Hadash Tal voted nay, all 5 members of Ram voted nay, all 4 members of the Labour Party voted nay, and only 1 member of the so-called opposition coalition, I guess the Ram and Labour are part of the opposition coalition, but only 1 of the main members of the opposition coalition, of Blue and White, voted nay. The rest, there's 1 member of Blue and White who voted present, and the majority, all of United Torah Judaism, who, if I remember correctly, is part of Netanyahu's coalition, and a majority of the members of Yesh Atid, and a majority of the members of Blue and White voted. They didn't vote at all. They weren't in the Knesset at the time. And apparently, one of the people in Yesh Atid who didn't show up was Yair Lapid, after he made a big stink about, I'm going to show up to the Knesset and I'm going to vote him out. And that's my point. That's the thing. That is the only thing that is saving Ayman Odeh and Ofer Kassif. That's the only thing that saved them. It's the opposition coalition just simply not caring about this vote that saved them. It's not because there's some people when Ayman Odeh basically posted a tweet saying hey, I survived my impeachment inquiry. One of the first things that a lot of Zionists did was oh, so does this prove it's not an apartheid state or whatever? It's no, it doesn't. First of all, he was almost impeached for just speaking out against the apartheid, and second of all, he only survived because of voter apathy. He literally, if all the members of the Knesset showed up, I guarantee you he would have lost the Knesset. In fact, I think maybe I guess I can't really say for certain, but I'm gonna take a while to guess that the Labor only voted. I guess I have to give props to Labor for actually standing their ground this time, because last time with Ofer Kasif, only one member of the Knesset voted nay. But I guess granted, it's because the last time it was considered a quote-unquote more, like in their minds, a more justifiable vote, because Ofer Kasif was very explicitly just like extremely obviously like super radical on the issue. Like I think literally his was literally impeachment was because he explicitly said Israel's an apartheid state committing a genocide. Ayman Odeh got impeached because he said, I hope that the violence ends soon. That was basically what he got impeached for. That's the official reason for his impeachment. The unofficial reason is, of course, because he said that statement that Gaza will win. That was the unofficial reason, and it's the reason that Zionists used. There was, in fact, one Zionist who literally went so far as to try and make this big statement, Bernie, come on. I oppose the idea of him being impeached, but come on. If a United States senator during the Vietnam War said that Vietnam was going to win the war, what would you have done at that time? And it's like, well, I mean, I can't speak for at that time because I wasn't alive at that time, but I would absolutely venerate that one senator because they are 100% fucking correct. They are 100% right. And much like Ayman Odeh was. Ayman Odeh, in that statement where he said Gaza will win the war, is right. Not in the sense of in the actual battle, he will win the war, but in the sense of, in a moral, practical sense, Gaza has won. Support for Israel is in the trash. It's never going to go up again. The support for Israel is such a drastic issue. It is very strange to see this issue just shift so drastically. I think political scientists have actually expressed very strange, not admiration, but very interested notions about this issue has changed so drastically that it is insane. And another piece of evidence to show that this is happening, that the tide is shifting in the Gaza issue, is the fact that there is a group called the Hague Group, which is a group of 12 countries from the global south, which are committing to ending all arms transfers to Israel. The countries in question are Bolivia, Colombia, Cuba, Indonesia, Iraq, Libya, Malaysia, Namibia, Nicaragua, Oman, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and South Africa. They're not just going to ban arms from Israel, but they're basically going to ban all shipping transportations for, everything, and review any public contracts for links to companies that benefit from the Israeli operations. Basically, massive forms of BDS. And this is the thing you gotta understand about a lot of these countries. A lot of these countries, their relationships to places like Taiwan and Israel are very much intrinsically linked due to the fact that their previous governments have been U.S. backed and have basically done everything in their power to make sure that those countries are basically bend the knee to the West to help them. And this shift is going to continue with every single thing that's happening. In fact, there's even evidence that the shift is going to start happening a little bit more drastically, because Israel literally just attacked one of the only Catholic church in Gaza. Just flat out openly attacked the only Catholic church in Gaza. They just attacked it. This was the church that Pope Francis kept calling every day to be like, hey, are you guys okay? Are you guys dying? And they just attacked them. And Israel, of course, went to the U.S. president to basically, actually, this was all an oopsie doodle. And then everyone was quick to point out, there's no way this is an oopsie doodle. You bragged before how you had the coordinates of this church, and you made very explicit points to try and avoid this church as much as you can. But now, coincidentally, you made an oopsie. Because, of course, that's not the point. The point is, you're not making oopsies. This is the thing. I really don't understand this logic by Zionists. It's on one end, either you have to admit that the Israeli army is the group of the dumbest fucking losers in the planet. The absolute fucking dumbest, worthless soldiers you could ever imagine, which makes sense considering they forcibly conscript all of their people to serve at least 1 year in the military, so very clearly they are very much unqualified to serve in the military. or you have to admit that this is all not a coincidence. This is very much intentional. And they're doing it for a reason, because they want to murder all the Gazans and they want to take over Gaza. That is the point. That's what they want to do. There's no extension buts. That's clearly obviously what they're doing. But Zionists don't really see that. In fact, one of the biggest things that has been going on is that Zionists have even went so far as to try and claim that the Catholic Church in Gaza was actually being secretly controlled by Hamas. Yeah, sure, buddy, go ahead. The Sunni Islamist group, I actually double-checked just to make sure, and yeah, I got it right, it was Sunni. The Sunni Islamist group was secretly funding the Catholic Church in their nation. And again, this is supposed to dispel a lot of notions, like, because one end isn't the whole thing that people say that, oh, Hamas is secretly trying to rule the Gaza Strip, enforce Sharia law, then how come they allow Catholics to exist in the state? You see, you're starting to realize a lot of the narratives are starting to crumble. And they've even went so far as to try and do revisionism, not even historical revisionism of just statements that happen at the moment. Because the current Pope released a statement basically saying, I am deeply sad and anguished about the tragedy that just happened in Gaza. And then the Zionists openly quote tweeted that tweet and then said, we are grateful for the Pope to express his sympathies towards us. It's like, that is not even remotely what he did. His tweet was expressing support for the Catholic Church you just destroyed. And this is apparently the thing that is starting to radicalize even the right to start shifting on this, because for some reason, like, this is, again, it's a sad thing about, like, the situation. Like, now all of a sudden, because this is the thing, like, a week ago, people were like a lot of far-right accounts on Twitter were basically tweeting like, oh, the only people I feel sorry for are the Palestinian Christians, because it's very clear the Palestinian Christians, they're not doing anything wrong, and they're still suffering under all this regime, blah, 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 and all this war. And then now Israel just openly attacked the Catholic Church, and now all of a sudden, every single right-wing person is now suddenly talking about, hey, yo, what the fuck? What do you mean? Wait, Israel, guys, wait, hold on. I thought you guys were attacking the bad ones. I thought you guys were attacking like the gross Arabs, but you're attacking Christians too? Even to the point where Marjorie Taylor Greene has really, like, literally just the House was debating like a fucking like arms deal bill, and then she said, hey, you guys attacked a bunch of Catholics. What the fuck? Due to that fact, I now want to divest some money from you. And there are some people who are like expressing like sadness because AOC didn't vote for Marjorie Taylor Greene's bill. I honestly don't fucking care if AOC voted for Marjorie Taylor Greene's bill or not, because Marjorie Taylor Greene's bill is, I'd have to actually read the bill. I mean, guys, we have to be real. There's no bill where like divestment from Israel is gonna fucking work. That's not gonna happen. There's no Congress bill, there's no House bill, there's no Senate bill that's going to ever divest anything from Israel. That's just never gonna happen. Would it have been cool if AOC voted for the bill? Sure, I guess. But remember, Marjorie Taylor Greene is the same fucking stupid cunt that literally like censured Rashida Tlaib for expressing support for Palestinians long ago. Remember, she was the one who introduced the censure bill because Rashida Tlaib expressed support for Palestinians and said that killing children was wrong. That same person, Marjorie Taylor Greene, did that as well. Because Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't care when Israel was murdering all those Muslims, but now that they're attacking Christians, all of a sudden she has this big moral quandary about this. Now, they've always been attacking Christians, but she just figured that out today. But yeah, Israel is clearly what the fuck else am I saying? I'm literally wearing a Free Palestine shirt right now. Like, what else is there to fucking say about Israel? Israel's been doing a lot of shady shit. Anyway, speaking of shady shit, Keir Starmer has announced that he's going to be suspending some, quote, rebellious MPs. Now, here are some people who he has suspended, because there's actually a funny thing. Okay, so the first round of suspensions that he did were Rachel Maskell, Neil Duncan Jordan, Brian Leishman, and Chris Hinckliffe, because the first thing that happened was that there was a bill that was just put towards the Parliament where Keir Starmer is basically trying to cut a lot of aid to disabled people for some reason. Like, I genuinely have no fucking clue why he's doing this. I really don't understand why Keir Starmer is doing this. I mean, I just genuinely don't understand. Why is this the one thing Keir Starmer is, like, fighting for? Not even a generic austerity bill, just flat out just, like, cut aid to the disabled. And then he decided to suspend the whips, i.e. ban, i.e. kick out, i.e. delaborize these 4 MPs. And Rachel McMaskill literally went on the floor of the parliament to express her very sad, she was very much sad and depressed and crying over the fact that this happened. Because, again, she's like, I've been a loyal Labour MP for years, and this bill is just going to fucking make people's lives worse, and I just can't support it. And it's so strange that the Labour Party is advocating for this bill. And, yeah, it is weird. But, apparently, this same week, Keir Starmer announced that he was going to be suspending the whip of another Labour MP, Diane Abbott. Again. But wait, it gets better. Want to know why she got suspended? I'll give you a hint. It's the same thing that she got suspended for a year ago. And, again, listen. This is the thing that she got suspended for. She gave an interview recently where she said, hey, as a black woman, I suffer discrimination differently from other people. Where's the scandal? Where's the controversy? What's the issue with what she said? I don't know. I literally don't know. She basically went on and was like, hey, I mean, a Jewish person faces discrimination different from me. A traveler, which is an indigenous group close to Ireland, they experience discrimination different from me. We all experience discrimination, yes, but we experience discrimination differently. Which is, again, a factual statement. That is a factual statement that any single person who is a minority of any capacity understands. I am a Latino man. I will never face the discrimination that a Muslim woman will face. I will never face the discrimination a black man faces. I will never face the same discrimination as a disabled person. We will never face the same discrimination. Well, I mean, I guess I never say never on the disabled one because, the disabled community is the one minority group that everybody can be a part of at any point. You just have to get into a very bad accident. The point being, we all face discrimination in some capacity, but we all face it differently. And Diane Abbott has made it very abundantly clear. She's like, yeah, it's very obvious why Keir Starmer is doing this. He just wants me gone. And that's a fact. I do not fathom in any semblance of the word why Keir Starmer would be actively doing this. I genuinely do not understand why Keir Starmer would actively want to he keeps just banning random MPs from his party. And it's not even just they do things that are antithetical to the Labour Party platform, because it's never that. It is always they do something antithetical to what Keir Starmer himself specifically wants. That's all it is. That's always what it is. It's never that. It's never them doing anything that is it's just so fucking strange. I genuinely do not understand this. It's the same problem with all neoliberal idiots. They genuinely think they win one election and then think that they can just do anything. And it's just no, that's not how it works. You actually have to build a substantive political platform to run on, and you can't even do that. And all he's doing, literally, as this is happening right now, they did polling about this, with all these situations going on, now the Jeremy Corbyn, Zara Sultana Independent Alliance, mainstream party, possibly, as of right now, they're tying with Labour, and some polls have them with a 1-point lead over Labour. Labour is going to get trounced in the next election. That is a very obvious fact. What happens next is whether or not the Jeremy Corbyn party will actually be able to take its place, or will they just become a viable left-wing force? Just generally, just as a antithesis to Labour. Because clearly Labour is dead. Labour is dead, without a shadow of a doubt. What takes its place? That's yet to be determined. Alright, now let's move on to the next story. It's a very interesting news story in the sense that it's both not interesting and it is interesting. Okay, so the interesting thing is the Arizona District 7 special election, because let's just cut to the chase. Very obvious, answer is obvious. Adelita Grijalva won the election very easily. Like, I literally, it's just like, it wasn't even close. It wasn't even fucking close. It just absolutely was not close in any sense of the word. And I don't understand why anybody thought it was different. Like, people say, like, oh, but yeah, polling. Yeah, whatever. Fucking polling. Yeah, whatever. Polling was polling. The polls had. Look, cool. That would have only been interesting if she won. Like, if Deja Fox won, or if anyone else won. What the fact of the matter is, it's super fucking obvious that the poll. Literally, results. 8,000 votes for the fucking Zionist loser Daniel Hernandez. 13,000 votes for Deja Fox. 37,000 for Adelita Grijalva. No shit, she was gonna win. Her dad was the House member, and he just died. No shit, she was gonna win. Like, literally, I don't understand why anybody thought that it was gonna be anything different. She had the endorsement of Ruben Gallego, Mark Kelly, Bernie Sanders, AOC, Gabby Giffords, Ann Kirkpatrick. Again, like, literally, everybody backed her. The backing of Deja Fox and Daniel Hernandez was just because people wanted to express their own interest groups. Richie Torres, Eric Sorensen supported Daniel Hernandez because gay Zionists, Deja, like, people will go, well, David Hogg backed her. Yeah, of course David Hogg backed her. They're both 25-year-old political influencers with a lot of money. Of course he's gonna back her. No shit, he's gonna back her. No duh. Then people point out, like, oh, but, like, if you actually look at policy perspectives, like, Deja Fox was more left-wing. It's like, yeah, but she was also Kamala Harris, like, aide. And she was, like, a Kamala Harris backer way back in the day. So she's, like, really in. She's in it for, like, Kamala. She loves Kamala, apparently. Sure, she might have been saying such nice words, but she also still backed Kamala for a long period of time. But Adelita Grijalva backed away from a lot of left-wing platform. You know, no Medicare for all, no Gaza war expositions. Like, yeah, but again, like, most people think she's just going to be just like her dad. That's literally it. They liked her dad. They saw her name and said, yes, we want that, please. That's literally all this race was. And the media is trying to, like, make a huge point of this for some reason. I mean, I say for some reason, but it's very clear why. Because one of the big things that they pointed out with this race is that a lot of news organizations said that this is proof that Mamdani Mentum doesn't work. Because apparently they're making the claim that Deja Fox is like Zohran Mamdani, which she's not. She's a lib influencer. He's not a lib. He's not. Like, basically the only thing is, like, oh, they had great online messaging. That's the only thing where they have any remote semblance of connection. Or even just, you know, like, them being, I don't know, was Deja Fox Latina? I don't know. Not Latina. Why did I even say that? I was just broadly minorities, I guess. Young minorities. She's apparently Asian Filipina. She's a Filipina. So I guess that's, again, the only comparisons you can really make are vague, very not related. Basically nothing really to connect her to Mamdani. And everybody pointed out the same thing. Like, AOC and Bernie backed Mamdani and they backed Adelita, so how is this a message? It's clearly they're just doing this to try and make Mamdani look bad. That's literally it. The whole, like, the media is afraid of Mamdani, so they're doing everything they can to make sure, like, people think that his Mamdani's momentum is not going to be a big thing. They're propping up Andrew Cuomo. They're, like, to keep doing the whole globalize the infantata thing. Like, oh, the thing that he never said, the thing that he refuses to say, the thing that he's never said and actually condemns. Like, let's bring it up every 5 minutes. But there is not much else to say because literally there is nothing to say. I didn't pay attention to this race because I didn't fucking care. I didn't care. Adelita Grijalva, I didn't trust her because she didn't mention anything about Gaza. I'll be honest, her dad is kind of mid. Like, I mean, her dad was pretty cool for a while, but then, like, by the end of his life, he basically got really mid. And I'll be honest, he should have fucking retired. I'll be upfront and say it. He should have fucking retired. The fact that he explicitly helped lead to a bill that happened this year. A very bad bill happened, and it was because of Raul Grijalva. Because he died. He knew he had cancer, and instead of saying, hey, I'm going to retire, he's like, no, I'm going to stay in until, and maybe I'll get better. No. But even then, when he said, like, I'm going to get better, he still announced that he was going to retire in the later years. Like, oh, after this term, I'm going to retire. It's like, why didn't you retire when you found out you're fucking cancer. But whatever. Not much else to say because there's nothing to say. But anyways, let's move on to the next story. Nintendo. More testing of my brand loyalty. I mean, I keep teasing this, but like, let's just get into it. Because Nintendo has apparently found out they've done a very interesting thing in regards to their patent thing regarding patent war. If you don't remember, Nintendo has been in a patent war with a indie developed game called Pal World, which is basically Pokemon with guns, with Nintendo making the claim that they own the patents to basic game mechanics in this possible franchise. Like, we own the concept of you catching a creature in a ball. We own the concept of you flying around on a creature. We own those concepts. It's like, this is fucking bullshit, but whatever. But, as it turns out, Nintendo has found out a very interesting thing, in regards to this current thing. Okay, let's just get into it. I'm going to read as much of this as possible because I think this is very interesting. Okay. It's been that's editorializing. The latest reports from Games Fray have uncovered some rather unusual behavior from Nintendo as they continue to fight to shut down Pal World, and it seems that the fight in Japan isn't landing the punches they hope. Nintendo is making some unusual moves. Okay, whatever. To quickly recap, I'm trying to get to the part. There are 3 patents that they're fighting, and they're trying to seek the equivalent of $66,000 in damages. 2 about capturing monsters, 1 about how you can switch between different flying creatures. But this is the big thing about it. Okay, so how has Nintendo responded to the Pocket Pair's defense? According to this Games Fray report, Nintendo recently went to the patents office in Japan and asked to change the patent about switching rides in midair. That's a bold and unusual move, and one that usually only happens when the original patent looks weak. The updated version uses some even bizarre language, including the phrase even when, which is not standard or clear in patent law. Okay, according to the Florian Miller, the founder and publisher of Games Fray, patent specialized in IP Fray, I've been following patent litigation for 15 years, for the better part of that period as a consultant, and I have seen many claims that were amended, but I've never seen even when or even if in a patent. That is bizarre. If you want some light in the bedtime reading, you can read the entire claim online, but it's specifically the wording changes to emphatic phrases like even when that are uses of languages not generally seen in legal claims such as this, and it's even more telling that these amendments have been made mid-case. This is important because changing a patent in the middle of an ongoing case is risky, and it signals Nintendo perhaps doesn't believe its current claims will hold up in court. Using vague language like this doesn't inspire confidence, and the new wording is so clunky in the context of the entire claim that it may do more harm to their case than good. And that's another big reason why I think this is bullshit, because it's like, you can't claim that you own a concept and then change the thing that you claim gives you a legal right over that concept. You can't do that. I guess you legally can, but like, you can't. That shouldn't be allowed. You can't say I own this piece of land, and then when you go to the guy, you cross out a word and then replace it with a different word. That should like delegitimize your case. And it seems like in this case, it might actually delegitimize their case. Look, I just be upfront. I really want to make a politics and media like episode or copyright related episode about Nintendo, because I've even learned a lot of things, because like I was just scrolling through YouTube Shorts and I saw some guy basically say like, here are 3 patent copyright lawsuits that Nintendo gotten and lost, and it's like, I really just want to go through a lot of like Nintendo's copyright things. It's just like, this is just so bullshit, especially when their whole like brand exists as of now because of someone trying to pull this exact same bullshit on them. And it's that problem that I have with a lot of these companies, because a lot of times they get bullied in their early years, and then they internalize that bullying, and then they become the bullies when they become the big boys. Nintendo got bullied by Universal, so now they are the bullies to other small companies to Pocket Pair. Walt Disney got fucked over by Universal again. Was it Universal? Yeah, I think it was Universal. So yeah, it's fucking Universal's fault. Universal were the same people who tried to like ban VHSs. These guys are insane. But yeah, I have some empty politics and media slots that I have been sorely neglecting to fill. I think I'm gonna do an easy like just film review for one, because I really just gotta find, because I'm busy working on current politics and media. I mean, I mean, these are like, I guess I technically do have a politics and media episode that I could make in the short term, but I kind of don't want to make that episode because it's kind of boring, not gonna lie. But I guess I can still make it regardless. It doesn't really matter. But anyways, with that out of the way, let's move on to, I guess it's gonna be both a news story and the main topic, because I actually kind of didn't know what I wanted the main topic of this video to be. I didn't really have any ideas. I don't know. I may be burned out. I don't know. But a news story happened, and while I was busy, doing some exercise and, getting fit and healthy, it came in my head, like, maybe I should just talk about, like, just generally stuff like this. Because, I mean, I've been talking about news stories, but I haven't really given my full unbridled thoughts generally about this, which probably would be interesting to know, because I am a Latino person, so, maybe my input would probably be useful in some sense. I am a Latino natural-born citizen of the United States, so, maybe my 2 cents would be very welcome in this regard. And I'm also the son of a natural-born American citizen, so if we were to go by the stated specific interests of the person who happens to be in charge of the United States at the moment, I would have nothing to worry about, nothing to fear, nothing to be concerned about. I happen to have went through the first Trump administration with no major issues, because there is no reason for me to have any major issues. Again, I am a natural-born citizen of the United States, so again, there's no major issues to allegedly. But then there come situations where basically, like, I mean, Trump is, I guess I should just get into it. This video is going to be me discussing the Trump, I guess, I can't even really call it immigration thing, because it's not even immigrants. He also goes after citizens. I can't at any point, in any sense of the word, not really, again, this one's going to be a bit more off the cuff. I don't have any notes, I barely have any news stories. I put some fucking articles over here, because there was one that was going to be just generally based on the news stories. That is very interesting. I guess I'll just read the news story that I was supposed to do for the news segments. Okay, so it's Trump administration hands over Medicaid recipients' personal data, including addresses, to ICE. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials will be given access to the personal data of the nation's 79 million Medicaid enrollees, including home addresses and ethnicities, to track down immigrants who may not be living legally in the United States, according to an agreement attained by the Associated Press. The information will give ICE officials the ability to find and locate the locations of aliens across the country, says the agreement signed Monday between the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services and the Department of Homeland Security. The agreement has not been announced publicly. This is, of course, a massive, gross violation of, everything. That's literally, it's just like, this has never happened before in the history of ever. The only time this has ever happened, it has only happened on a case-by-case basis, to literally the only time this has ever happened in the past is always been a case-by-case basis, because they'll be like, hey, we're worried that this specific person might be doing Medicare fraud. Here you go, officials. You can, law enforcement authorities, you can then discuss this and figure out what to do next. But this is yeah, from now to September 9th, ICE is just going to have complete unlimited control over every single data point of people who are on Medicare and Medicaid. Now let's do a quick Google search. Do illegal immigrants qualify for Medicaid? Let's just wait for the Google results to come in. No! Undocumented immigrants are not eligible for Medicare or other federally funded healthcare coverage programs like Medicaid and CHIP. They cannot qualify. So, to recap, they're going through a thing that immigrants cannot qualify for. And why would you need to do that? Like, if undocumented immigrants cannot qualify for these programs, how can you figure out if the people who are on these programs are undocumented immigrants? And also, again, how can you tell a person is an undocumented immigrant just by looking at their names? How? That's interesting. And this is coming from the same people who, throughout the entirety of throughout the last leg of the 2024 election, were literally going after a bunch of Haitian immigrants in was it Springfield, Illinois? Yeah. Not Illinois, Ohio. It was in Ohio, where there were a bunch of Haitian immigrants, and remember they were doing the thing where they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, and then J.D. Vance was going around being like, when we get into office, those Haitians are out of here. And then it's like, but sir, all those Haitian immigrants are legal immigrants. They are here legally. They've gone through the whole process to be here legally. There is nothing to even remotely say you can't do that. You can't do that. It's literally not allowed. And they go, when we get into office, they're out of here. We're supposed to somehow trust that guy to then go around and say, hey, it is time for we're gonna figure out we're supposed to trust those people with the same justification. We're supposed to trust those people to determine who is truthfully a immigrant, legal or not. And again, I really have nothing to fear. I am a natural-born citizen of the United States. I will reiterate that until the day I die, because that is a fact. I am a natural-born citizen of the United States. I was born and raised in this country. This is my home. This has always been my home. And I have done nothing wrong in the eyes of the law, in any sense of the word. So again, there should be no problems, right? But then we also have the fact that ICE has continually attacked U.S. citizens and sent, like literally, there have been some people who have been reported to be citizens that have been sent away due to the ICE raids. That is a fact. Because he's literally cut off the entirety of due process in these mass deportations. Pramila Jayapal recently introduced a bill in the United States Congress literally called the Stop ICE from Kidnapping U.S. Citizens Act. And it only has a couple of co-sponsors to it. And they give a lot of examples. One U.S. citizen, a 19-year-old, was held by the Department of Homeland Security for 10 days after he suffered a seizure and was taken to the hospital without his ID. He was approached by a Border Patrol agent asking for help, and instead was held for over a week under the false claim that he was a Mexican national. 2 U.S. citizen children were also deported to Honduras after their mother was taken by ICE when she showed up for a regular check-in. Another family experienced the exact same situation when their 2-year-old was deported with their mother, who was attending a regular check-in. And the recent California ICE raids, a 25-year-old disabled veteran who was a U.S. citizen was detained and held for 3 days without access to legal representation without any charges against him. And I'm supposed to look at the people who keep making these simple mistakes and then go, yeah, they're fine. And I'm also supposed to do this to the people who have no federal identification, no uniform, nothing. I'm supposed to do that. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to do that. I'm supposed to just be like, yeah, these random masked men, they show up to people's houses and just take them away. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. I keep reiterating this. I think I'm reiterating this just basically trying to, like, calm myself down. Because, again, listen to my voice. Listen to my voice. I'm like the fucking whitest sounding guy you could possibly think of. Bennett Banana made fun of me for sounding white. He made fun of me for sounding white. Think about that. The white guy made fun of me for sounding white. I basically know... I know very little, if any, Spanish. I can listen to fucking socialist songs, but that's basically it. I can basically listen to socialist songs in Spanish and literally nothing else, essentially. Or, like, I guess, like, literally... I guess, basically, I know Spanish on the same level like a fucking 3-year-old Spanish kid that's, like, that you're, like, raising to learn Spanish. Again, I have nothing to fear. I have nothing... But I can't shake that feeling that this is just the beginning. And I know that because that's always how it starts. It's going to start with just the people who are on the lowest of the totem pole. That's always how these fascist regimes begin. They go after the people who are on the lowest of the totem pole, and then they make their way to the people who are, in the eyes of a lot of people, quote unquote, important. I mean, when I said in the fucking, like, lead up to the 2024, like, election, how I was like, oh, Kamala Harris was, like, the only hope to save America. I meant it. I meant it in the most genuine sense. I fucking hate her. She's a worthless cunt. I don't like her, and I want her to go away forever. But I mean this in the most objective sense. That's why I sold out my whole principle of, like, being, like, this principled leftist who hates the two-party system and then voted for her anyways. Because in the most genuine sense, I saw what Project 2025 wanted to do on a lot of issues. Literally, one of the top things at Project 2025 was getting rid of birthright citizenship. And sure enough, Trump has been desperately trying to get rid of birthright citizenship. It's like one of the cornerstones of American principles. Like, literally, the cornerstone of America as a country that separated it from the rest of the world. That was one of the sole things that made it, like, you come here, you were born here, you are an American. That is the point of, like, what the American dream was literally built upon. And it's like, let's just get rid of this big cornerstone of it. And because I'm, of course, a very fickle person, it's like, if we actually treated the ending of birthright citizenship as a real thing, and just like, oh, people who were born here, they don't count as citizens either. It's like, if we were to actually do that legitimately, then literally the only people who would be citizens of the United States would be the indigenous populations of the United States. But of course, that's not what he's talking about. What he's talking about is, of course, getting rid of the most recent people who are born here from immigrant parents. But then it's like, you get worried and you think, like, how far back are you going to go? It's the same thing. It's like, oh, the one drop rule when it came to, like, slaves. Like, you're really going to go with the point where it's like, oh, just if you have one drop of black blood in you, then you are black man. Even if it's like 15 million years back. That's the thing. I can't look at people who do stuff like that and then trust them on these issues. I can't look at the people who just flat out openly lie about, like, immigrants and immigration and all these other, like, Latino and other related issues and think I can trust them to just only go after immigrants, because that's not true. As Trump said, he wanted to go after the homegrowns next. What does that mean? What does that mean? Saying that to possibly deport United States citizens to an El Salvadorian prison, it's like, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. But of course, we live in a fucking country where the most insane people are on the opposition and the good side and the bad side, and yet somehow it's like, again. And then we have these insane fucking losers like Tom Homan, who literally are mad when you, like, this is the problem with a lot of the right wing nowadays. It's like, they really don't know how all this will literally affect them too. It's like, sure, give the United States government the ability to do no due process and arbitrarily jail you and arrest you and deport you to, it's not even deportation. It's not deportation. Deportation is like sending you back to where you came from. Sending Mahmoud Khalil to the El Salvadoran prison system, that wasn't deportation. He wasn't from El Salvador. Much less, he wasn't from the El Salvadorian, like, concentration camp you sent him to. And he was deported because he expressed a political opinion that the U.S. government wasn't a fan of. A political opinion that I happen to share. Okay, I'm apparently mixing up Khalil's case with Garcia's case. Kilmar Abrego Garcia. I'm mixing Khalil's case with him because Khalil was just detained in the fucking, like, ICE detention center in a fucking, like, on the other side of the fucking country. Because again, like, and I confuse the cases because, like, the same thing, like, it's not the same. I guess, like, they were illegally targeted because of their ethnicity, and I guess one of them in their political beliefs. They were illegally detained and sent to a place where they didn't belong. A New York man was sent to a Louisiana jail. Louisiana, the place that is well known for harsher jail sentences. Huh, interesting. And again, we're supposed to we're supposed to look at these people who have made these quote-unquote administrative errors that literally affect people's livelihoods so much. And remember, Trump claimed that Garcia's case was an administrative error, but now he's still in jail. He's in American jail now for completely unrelated crimes that he magically made up. The fact that he just completely fucking lied about his case multiple times, and the right wing just bought into it all the same time, much in the same way that they're buying into all the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, is just so infuriating. And why it's like, again, I'm supposed to trust these people to make the right decisions, and this is all coming from a guy who, again, I am a natural-born citizen of the United States of America. I was born and raised in the United States. My entry into this world was through the private parts of a natural-born American citizen. I can't imagine a person who is actually in the real crosshairs of the administration for this. I can't imagine what you all are going through, because I know some of you in the audience are like fucking immigrants. Some of you have openly said, I don't know if you said that you're immigrants, or like some of you said that your family members are immigrants, but it's like, I can't imagine what you all are going through. You get lied about all the time that these illegal immigrants they're doing all these crimes and doing all these bad things, they're stealing all of our benefits and blah, 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 when none of it is even remotely true. It's all just a lie perpetuated by the media in order to make the American people scared and fearful of their fellow man so that the people on top can stay on top. For some reason, we're going to arrest the guy making 5 cents an hour picking cherries out of a fucking field, and not the fucking worthless piece of shit redneck who is forcibly having these people work for literal pennies, who's probably the one who called so that he doesn't have to pay those pennies anyways. I'm supposed to hate the person who is literally trying to make themselves and their families' lives better. And it's the thing, the media, you have made me more sympathetic to immigrants. It's not because you are actually sympathetic to immigrants, because you have perpetuated other things in the media before. You've said that all these other nations that they're fleeing from are shithole countries. They're full of corrupt leaders. They're these it's bad. Mexico is like crime-ridden. It's all this bad stuff. And I'm supposed to feel bad that a person wants to flee from that country and come here? I'm supposed to hate that person for even remotely thinking they want to come here to benefit their family. I'm supposed to hate them for that. They're taking your benefits. No, they're not. They're not. That's not true. Show me evidence where that's true. Show me evidence where that's true. Huh? What's that? You can't find any? It's because it's a fucking lie. You were lied to by a fucking pedophile. That's what happened. You were lied to by a guy who was literally trying to, again, lie to you about the Jeffrey Epstein case. You're going to ignore literally every single statistic, every single data point, every single stated actual rules of all the systems that are in place already, and you're going to then instead trust some fucking, fat pedophile. And the worst part is that a lot of conservative people just flat out take the bait. They just take the bait. And then they've just become absolute horde monsters because of it. They're literally, I saw a fucking video today of Mehdi Hassan, because Mehdi Hassan's going to do a fucking thing where it's like, you've seen those Jubilee videos where it's like, 1 Nazi versus 20 Jews. It's like, they do that every time, and it's just like, and he's doing one where it's like he's gonna be debating a bunch of 20-year-old Trump supporters, I think. And then literally, even though Mehdi Hassan is an American citizen, he got his citizenship he got citizenship from, he's a British citizen, he's a British national, and then he became a US citizen. He has dual citizenship between the United Kingdom and the United States. He said he's an immigrant, and immediately was told by the Trump supporters, get out of this country. We don't want you here. It's like, again, we're supposed to trust these people to it's not racism. It's not racism. It's not racism. It's not racism. It's not. It's not that. They just want to go after the illegals. Even though Mehdi Hassan is a legal immigrant, things have gotten so bad that a majority of the time it's just them going after Latinos, and I guess they would be going after Muslim people too, or Arabic people. But a lot of things have happened. Let's look at some cases. I'm just gonna read off the Wikipedia page of a couple of big prominent cases of detentions of American citizens. Okay, Carrie Lopez Alvarado, U.S. citizen Carrie Lopez Alvarado, was arrested by ICE agents alongside 2 undocumented immigrants, one of which was her partner, on June 8th of 2025. DHS said Alvarado was arrested for blocking access to a car containing the undocumented immigrants. Alvarado denied, resisting, saying, "I can't fight back, I'm pregnant." Footage shows her telling agents that they need to leave for being on private property. Other footage shows her refusing to move away upon an agent's request. Alvarado was released from custody not that long after arrest. So ICE looked at a pregnant lady and just said, "Ooh." Next one, Job Garcia. Garcia was a graduate student and a part-time delivery worker, was swept up during an ICE raid at the Home Depot in Hollywood, Los Angeles on June 18th. Garcia witnessed agents smashing another man's car windows, and he was arrested after he began recording the incident. That's big. Again, I'm supposed to love the law enforcement in this situation. I'm supposed to love law enforcement. They're just doing their jobs. Oh, by the way, if you record us doing anything that clearly recording law enforcement is legal. That is a fact. You are allowed to record law enforcement. If they claim you can't, they're lying and they're trying to get you to cover up a crime they're going to commit. Back to Garcia. Garcia was brought to Dodger Stadium alongside 30 other detainees and was held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in downtown LA for 24 hours before being released. Garcia said the agents considered charging him with assault on a federal officer, but decided against it when video of the arrest became public. So again, they were going to arrest him. They were going to make up a lie about this man when he was detained, but only after they found out that they would be discovered, they let him go. Jason Brian Gavita, an American citizen, was videotaped being detained in June 2005 in his hometown of Montebello, California, by ICE agents who twisted his arm while asking him, "What hospital were you born at?" The mayor of Montebello, Salvador Melendez, said in the response to the incident, "This is racial profiling. They're stopping folks because of the way they look. ICE agents are terrorizing our community. They're taking actions and asking questions later. There's absolutely no due process." U.S. citizen Jose Hermorizo, a resident of the state of New Mexico, was arrested by the U.S. Customs and Border Protection in Tucson, Arizona on April 8th, 2025 while visiting his girlfriend's family. Hermorizo was falsely arrested for illegally entering the country while walking near Border Patrol headquarters. Upon learning his detention in Florence Correctional Center, a privately owned prison in Florence, Arizona. Interesting. So again, and it's like very obvious what's going on. Private prisons in both El Salvador and America are greatly benefiting from the situation, so that's why they're doing this. After discovering where he was detained, a member of the Hermorizo's girlfriend's family drove to the facility with Hermorizo's social security card and birth certificate, but was not given any information or allowed to effectuate his release. The government claimed that Hermorizo said that he was a Mexican citizen and that he had entered the country illegally through Nogales and said that he was planning to stay for 20 years to work. The fucking obvious fucking lies. Why would he admit that? In what fucking world would a person who is committing a crime like that, in what world would a person who is going to commit a crime just point blank just say that? Why would he say that? According to an anonymous DHS official, Hermorizo signed a statement with those facts. Hermorizo's family and girlfriend say that he has a learning disability. Oh, fuck these fucking cunts. Fuck these fucking pigs. These fucking monsters. They took a person with a learning disability, detained them, and then just flat out lied about it. Again, and I'm supposed to trust these people to make the fucking right decisions. Apparently, Hermorizo literally said he is from New Mexico, and they said, "Don't you fucking lie to me, I know you're from Mexico," because they're racist pieces of shit. Elzan Limos, a Hispanic New Yorker, was stopped during his commute to his electrician job and detained in Westbury, New York, by ICE officials, saying they were looking for someone fitting his description. Limos refused to provide identification to the officers until they identified themselves, which they refused to do. And again, that's a big other issue. They refused to identify themselves as ICE until I don't get it. These fucking losers. I'm not giving any, do you expect a random person to just be like, "Yes, random masked man, please, here is my identification with my home address on it. I gladly give this to you." And there's a reason why they don't want to do that. Because if they do that, they make the situation go so much faster. "I'm an ICE agent." "Well, I'm a U.S. citizen, so you have no reason to fucking stop me. Bye." Genuinely. There's no reason, if you're a U.S. citizen, there's no reason for ICE to detain you, there's no reason for ICE to stop you, there's no reason for ICE to do anything to you. Because you're a U.S. citizen, you have no reason to interact with them. Was detained for 20 minutes because even though he did literally nothing wrong, he didn't break any laws, he didn't do anything wrong, they just looked at him and saw a Mexican man and went, and then got mad. Juan Carlos Lopez Gomez, an American citizen in the United States, was residing in Georgia and was traveling from his home to Florida for a construction job alongside two other people on April 16, 2025. Their car was pulled over for a traffic stop by the Florida Highway Patrol for allegedly speeding. Lopez Gomez, along with the driver and an additional passenger, were arrested and each charged with allegedly entering Florida as an unauthorized alien. The government claims that Lopez Gomez confessed that he was in the country illegally to authorities, but Lopez Gomez disputes this claim, insisting that he told the officers he was an American citizen and provided a social security card and a Georgia ID. Both Gomez's mother and his community advocate presented Gomez's birth certificate to Leon County LaShawn Graves, who deemed the birth certificate as authentic. However, the judge said that there was nothing she could do to let him out of jail at the time, despite finding no probable cause to hold Lopez Gomez. And we're supposed to trust the legal system when it's like, yeah, this guy broke no laws, and there's no reason to hold him in jail, but we can't do anything. Yeah, you can. Hey, you're free to go. That's what you do. And I keep noticing these common theme. These people who are citizens of the United States say when these interactions happen that they say that they are citizens of the United States, and the ICE agents say, "Oh, these guys actually stated point blank that they were not citizens of the United States." Who's more believable? The people who, as of this point, have been shown to be obsessively lying over and over and over again. I'm just saying, man shows up with birth certificate, social security card, and everything to prove that he is an American citizen, and then ICE says that he's not a U.S. citizen. And they are clearly proven wrong because they ended up having to release him. It seems very interesting that they keep getting caught in these lies, and yet this institution is still allowed to be around. Jen C. Machado, naturalized U.S. citizen Jen C. Machado, and 2 other men were stopped and detained by ICE on March 5th, 2005, while they were driving to work in Manassas, Virginia. The ICE officers had their guns out and said that they were looking for someone with a different name who had a deportation order and had given Machado's address as his own. Machado explained that he was not the man they were looking for and offered to show them his real ID driver's license, but was told to keep his hands in the air and was then handcuffed. He was only then released after officials reviewed his driver's license. Machado said that he had thought ICE was only going to target criminals, but is insisting that, assuming that all Hispanic people are in the country illegally. Virginia Senator Mark Warner wrote to DHS this month. I don't really care about like Mark Warner's like response because like unless he's actually going to do anything actually interesting, there's just no point. Adrian Andrew Martinez is an American citizen born in Los Angeles who was detained outside of his job at a Walmart by ICE. Video footage showed the agents in tactical gear restraining Martinez as they wrestled him to the ground. Martinez was held incommunicado after the unidentified officials abducted him, with federal officials denying any knowledge of Martinez's whereabouts. After a hearing on June 21st, Martinez was released on a $5,000 bond and charged with impeding a federal investigation. His lawyers called this a clearly trumped-up charge filed to justify the federal agent's violent treatment of Adrian, and said that Adrian did nothing wrong and was standing up for an elderly janitorial worker when he was violently assaulted and abducted. 4 U.S. citizen children in Oregon were held and detained by ICE for several weeks. Kana Morelos and her citizen children were captured while visiting Peace Arch State and Washington State. Her husband was captured days later at their home. Morelos and the family had been near the border to take Morelos' mother lawfully visiting the USA and Canada from Honduras on authorized visa so that she could enter Canada and visit another family member during the trip. The children's mother was lawfully living in the United States and was eligible to be within the U.S. as a resident through 2029 and was in the U visa application process. The family was denied access to lawyers by ICE. After 2 weeks of unconstitutional delays, they were allowed access to legal representation. Attorneys filed for an emergency judicial ruling on July 13th, 2005. The U.S. citizens' children were released from captivity by ICE after 2 weeks and given United States passports by the federal government. The United States federal judge Tana Lynn ordered the U.S. government to stand down on any actions involving the family afterward. The Trump administration on July 17th confirmed that the parents were in deportation proceedings in defiance of court orders. Julio Noriega, a native Chicagoan who had a learning disability that affects his comprehension. Man, I'm supposed to be like, oh, ICE are so cool. You're defending us from all the fucking disabled Latino people in America. Wow, I feel so protected. Julio Noriega was out looking for work, handing out his resume at local businesses in Bergwin, Illinois on January 31st, 2025. He stopped for a slice of pizza and was grabbed from behind by ICE, arrested without probable cause, handcuffed, and driven away in a van with other detainees. ICE took his phone and wallet, which held his social security card and driver's license. The people in the van were driven around for hours and eventually taken to an ICE processing center in Broadville, Illinois, where he remained for hours, still handcuffed and without access to food, water, or bathroom. All told, he was detained for at least 10 hours without having been asked about his citizenship or otherwise questioned. He was released in the middle of the night after government officials checked his wallet and determined that he was actually an American citizen. Mark Fleming, the associate director at litigation in the National Immigration Justice Center, said that ICE had then just sent him on the street, even though he had no money and no idea where he was, nor a way to get home. ICE did not give Noriega any documentation of that arrest and detention, and later denied having any record of it, including body camera and other video. And yeah, that fills me with amazing confidence that they have body cameras that they choose not to record with. That's very interesting. That's very happy. That's very calming for everyone. That's very calming to see. Yeah, these federal agents refuse to identify themselves, don't have a uniform, don't have anything to identify themselves. They have body cameras that they refuse to use, so literally, and they don't have any documentation of these arrests that are arbitrary, and I don't even want to say it, I don't want to give ideas, but you know exactly what I'm thinking of. You know exactly what I'm fucking thinking of. Next person, Heidi Plumer. Heidi Plumer of Orange County, California, was arrested by ICE during a Juneteenth festival in Santa Ana. Plumer, an American citizen of Ecuadorian ancestry and attorney, was captured during a mass apprehension of people of Hispanic background. Plumer's attorney said that they're going out and just grabbing Latinos is a clear violation of these individuals' constitutional rights. George Retes, A disabled United States military veteran and U.S. citizen was captured by ICE agents. I love the fact that they're just flat out just saying it in the Wikipedia article. Like, yeah, no sense of buts. He was captured. He was kidnapped. These are kidnappings. That is what it is. Retes identified himself as a United States citizen and employee of a farm that was raided by ICE agents. Retes was then pepper sprayed, tear gassed, his car window smashed, and he was removed from his vehicle at gunpoint by ICE agents. During his detainment, Retes was denied any phone call to notify anybody of his whereabouts and was denied legal representation. While held captive by ICE, Retes was denied medical treatment and forced to remain covered in that? Fuck. Retes remained missing and his whereabouts unknown through July 12, 2025. He was then released without charges on Sunday, July 13th. The office of the United States House member Prima Jayapal confirmed that Retes is a citizen, as it was captured and held illegally by ICE for 3 days. Barbara Stone, a 71-year-old ICE observer in San Diego and a U.S. citizen, was handcuffed, injured, and detained by federal agents for 8 hours on July 8, 2025. In recorded videos, a group of masked men pursued, captured, and took Stone's possessions, claiming she assaulted unidentified men. ICE agents refused to return all of Stone's possessions after releasing her, keeping her cell phone. Stone reported ICE compared her to a drug dealer. So yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. They can now keep her cell phone. Huh. That's very nice. ICE can literally just steal your phone, get access to your information without actually having you be there. Genuinely fucking disgusting individuals. U.S. citizen Andrea Velez was arrested by ICE agents in Los Angeles. Velez was detained moments after leaving a car to be dropped off at work in downtown and forced into unmarked vehicles by masked men, who spoke to her in Spanish. Family members of Velez were unable to locate or discover her whereabouts for several days. Leonardo Garcia Venegas. American-born citizen Leonardo Garcia Venegas was detained in a vehicle following an immigration raid in Foley, Alabama in May 2025. He was subsequently released after giving the authorities his social security number. Garcia's brother, who is not a U.S. citizen, was arrested during the raid. According to Garcia and his cousin, the authorities conducting the raid saw Garcia's real ID and called it fake before detaining him. And one unidentified person was a U.S. Marshal who was detained by ICE in Arizona in the summer of 2025 after officers mistakenly thought he was another person. Now, this situation is even more tragic because not only are they going after people who are literally, like, obviously just point-blank American citizens who are of Hispanic descent, but they're also going after people who are, also, again, they would go after multiple Puerto Ricans. You know, a lot of Puerto Rican people get arrested for this because even though Puerto Ricans are American citizens, even if they are born and raised on the island, they are literally American citizens. But what is worse, not even worse, but like what is even more interesting is the fact that, I guess there's just a big around the bush. Native Americans are getting detained by ICE. Native Americans, again, the only people who can literally make the claim 100% equivocally that they're the true quote-unquote American citizens. But even they are getting attacked and pushed against by ICE. Now, another thing I want to make very clear is just because these people are United States citizens does not make their plight better or whatever than anyone else. I'm not saying now they're going after citizens. It's a problem. I've always had a problem with this. The way that these deportations have been going are fucking insane, regardless of whether or not they are like immigrants or not. It doesn't matter. They should be treated like fucking human beings because that's what they are. They're human beings, regardless of whether or not they are considered like legal in the sense of like a paper. And again, it's just so infuriating. It's just like, you can tell again, I guess I read off the Wikipedia page on that, but I've kind of been going off the cuff just generally on this episode because I can't really even describe how I feel. Because, obviously the biggest feeling is, of course, anger. Just the idea that this situation can happen, and this situation was very much preventable, and the situation is just objectively, morally wrong in every sense of the word, is bad and wrong. But there's also, I can't even really say I'm, quote-unquote, scared, because, I don't know. Because, again, I'm a natural-born American citizen. No laws are broken. But then I just read stories of multiple people who a lot of them literally have the exact same story as me. Literally just American citizens who've done absolutely nothing wrong, and they get detained for however long. And while I can't also get comfort in the fact that, oh, the situation turned out happy for them. What if it didn't? For all those stories, I have no clue if there are people who have been detained that we've never seen again. There's a good chance that there are American citizens that have been detained that have just disappeared and we've never seen them since. There's a good chance. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. If you guys can make up fucking like statistics about how the immigrants are like evil and gross and disgusting and all those other things, I can make up statistics about like, oh, there are like hundreds of thousands of American citizens that are being detained right now, that are in El Salvadorian prisons being like murdered by fucking Bukele. The fact that the situation is happening is like very obviously authoritarian. It doesn't even matter if this is a moral problem and everybody should be against this. It's just unequivocally wrong. Like, I don't even know what to fucking call this episode, because again, this whole fucking like, and like this whole like main topic thing was kind of like just put off the cuff just to get my general like feelings. I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel. Like, I mean, of course everybody has like that idea in their head, like, you know, if things are gonna go bad, I think by the end of things are gonna turn out great. But I also can't say that. As much as I want to confidently say, like, yeah, things might be bleak now, but, you know, things will turn out good one day. I can say that about anything. Like, yeah, all you Palestinians have been brutally murdered and dead, but you know what? Maybe things will turn out okay. Yeah, maybe they will, but a lot of people are gonna suffer in the process. And unfortunately, in this situation, there are going to be a lot of bad things that are going to happen that until things are going to go good. Like, I mean, we're getting, like, we got small victories. Like, you know, that whole, like, fucking, like, birthright citizenship thing was just completely pulled immediately. And, like, Pramod Jayapal has that bill I mentioned before. Maybe things are going to turn out better. Maybe things will turn out worse. I mean, I can't even give advice on, like, what do we do now? What's the lesson of this episode? There isn't. It's just me ranting. I mean, guys, come on. This is just something that's been on my mind. Can you at least give me that? Just like this one random thing. This one... Even if this episode is bad quality, I'm sorry. You'll probably get better ones in the future. Maybe not maybe not in a while. Because I'm gonna take a brief break after like my next main video comes out. And then like a brief break, I think. You'll see when the time comes, but you know, regardless, it's not gonna be that long. It's literally gonna be like a you'll miss like the fucking like main, like you'll miss the fucking podcast 1 week or whatever. But like, anyways, yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say on that. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the bell to find out future video mine comes out. And if you're interested in more content from me, consider supporting me on Patreon.